All right, so last time we left off, we talked about Corax meeting with the Emperor, kind of. He does the whole. He met Malcador, and then the Emperor spoke through Malcador and was like, "Hey, I can't talk to you right now. I gotta close the webway."
Yeah.
So yes, now we're in part 2. So yes, welcome back to Ultramorons. I'm your host, usual Lane, joined with
Connor back again.
and we're continuing where we left off last time. So yes, and he went to the vault, and we left off there, a little cliffhanger, kind of. What is he looking for, and how to get there? And so in this labyrinth, he is walking around, and he's using the memories that the Emperor has kind of given him, transferred to him, to navigate this labyrinth. Because the corridors are shifting at random, and things are moving around, and it's this unbelievable, probably multiple miles long labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just too much to even for a Primarch's mind to comprehend. So it's like just that difficult. So what he realizes is he can't. It's not about finding a path through. It's about kind of making the thing jam in a way. So he basically says, which tells Arcadus. There we go. I got it. Arcadus and Agapito. Right there's Agapito. We talked about him.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what's going on? He says, look, there are mobile sentry guns with broad spectrum sensors, basically in gravity that inverts, and chambers that flood with heat or cold or vacuums out. So we really got to be careful here.
Yeah.
This is not. He did not turn up the defenses for us. He said, "You guys will figure it out. I trust you.
It's fine. You got it.
You got it. It's fine. What are you worried about?" And Agapito says, "Okay, sure. But so how are we gonna get through that?" And Corax says, "We'll figure it out." So he gets 3 full teams together, and they push in the labyrinth at once, which means the Custodians are going with them, right? Remember, the Custodians were trying to send as little babysitters.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, not babysitters, but one, they're babysitters, and 2, they're like making sure they're not doing anything funny.
Right.
Because nobody knows who to trust anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Arcturus, I keep saying Arcturus. I played too much StarCraft recently. Arcadus refuses. He says, "I'm not going to go out there. I want to stay next to you, Corax. I don't. That seems dangerous." And he basically said, "The Legio Custodians cannot afford the luxury of trust." And Corax says, "Fair." Says, "Your orders may be to watch me, but your role is to protect the Emperor. With the secrets held beyond the labyrinth, I can forge a new Raven Guard Legion. The Legion will fight against Horus. If the Custodians wish to have such allies, you must aid me now. Sorry, Arcadus is a Custodian.
Okay.
Not a Raven Guard."
That's what I was about
I don't know if I said he was or not, but I know obviously Agapito is, but Arcadus is not.
Okay, so he's a
Custodian.
Yeah.
Sorry. Look, we're going to go on the curtain a little bit here. It's been like 2 weeks since we recorded, so I'm a little off my...
Give you a little refresh.
Yeah, so I'm a little off my game here. So yes, Arcadus is like, fair enough. I trust you. So they commit all the warriors they had. This one requires 3 teams alongside Agapito and Sergeant And before they move out, he tells Corax that he said, "This is dangerous work for an uncertain reward. Like, how do we even know what we're looking for is there?" Which is interesting for a Custodian to say that, considering it's the Emperor said that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So Corax says, "This gene tech contains the secrets of our creation. With those secrets, the forces of the Emperor will multiply 100-fold. So he says, "All right, if you say so." So Corax gambles this whole expedition on a maze that the Emperor built to be unsolvable. And then, remember, we're going to go back to Omegon. Because remember, this was also happening. Omegon was on that Kiavahr factory, basically causing a rebellion on Corax's homeworld.
Yeah, okay. And that was... His whole thing was like... Was it the Cabal told him, like, you needed to... or no?
Yes, so there's 3 plots going on here. There is one, the Cabal says you need to find whatever Corax is looking for and destroy it.
Yes.
Alpha Legion wants to find what they look for and steal it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Horus, or I think it was Horus, said, "Just kill them outright. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
there's 3 different plots going on here. So Omegon is on Kiavahr, which is the moon or the planet that the moon Deliverance orbits.
Yes.
And he's causing some mischief as usual. So Omegon is meeting with a tech guild master named Armand Eloqui and kind of keeping himself unseen. He's going to talk from the shadows. And Omegon talks about decades of guilt resentment, the fall from the ruling class of Kiavahr to serving the Mechanicum. And basically, he's building up all that, like, you probably hate the position you're in, huh? Like, I bet you want to do something about it. So he says, Horus will back you himself. And he will give you forces to retake your world from people who are trying to tell you what to do. basically frames it like this. You have a powerful ally whom I represent, the War Master himself, Horus Lupercal, savior of the Imperium, stands ready to support you. And Eloquy kind of panics a little bit. He's like, this seems crazy. Because remember, this is like a regular guy, right? This isn't Space Marine, this isn't a Primarch, this isn't even a Mechanicus. This is regular, just worker at a factory talking to a Primarch, talking about Horus, you know what I mean? So it's a little like overwhelming.
Yeah. In that circumstance, like, if you're like, oh, Horus would totally back you if you revolt, but it's like, you're kind of choosing like probably death either way, right?
Either way that's what I'm saying. Either way, either you say no, you get killed.
Yeah.
Or you say yes, and hopefully you don't get killed. But if the Emperor wins, you're dead.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll just forget about you because it's a big universe.
Yeah.
Right? So who knows? And also, yeah, it kind of gives a thought of like, I mean, you might as well just join Horus because it's like, I don't know, at that point, there's got this guy about to kill you who's on Horus' side. It's like, all right, I guess so. It's kind of like the mafia, right? It's extortion.
Yeah.
So he says, he kind of seals the deal with one detail. He says he does not even demand for your fealty, only your friendship. He asks for you by name, Guildmaster. So he's gonna what's it called? Greasing him up a little bit here. Basically telling him, like, you're so special. You're like the best guy ever. That's what I've heard. I mean, maybe he's wrong. I don't know.
You're the best, like, random human on this one planet.
He told me you were the best Guildmaster, but maybe he was wrong. He's like, well, hold on. Maybe he's not wrong. Maybe I can do it. So as they're having this conversation, a robed figure steps through the door in mid-negotiation with a gold mask and cabling where his face should be. And Eloquy immediately assumes that he's been betrayed. And this guy says, no, I am Magos Unathrax of the Mechanicum. So Mechanicum is here. And he says, I am here to help overthrow what he calls the tyranny of Mars. Frames it like, I come from the Order of the Dragon and answer to a different power from Terra. With the aid of my associates, I will see the guild restored to your power on Kiavahr. So remember, a few episodes ago, we talked about the revolt that Mars had. So this is also one of those guys from Kelbor Hal's whole thing.
Okay, and that
evil Mechanicum.
I would say this, the dark Mechanicum. Yeah, okay.
Evil robots. Not the neck one. We haven't got to them yet. Those are different evil robots. So Eloquy is like, I mean, this seems like a lot. I'm just some guy. Like, I'm talking to like a robot man and a Primarch, but Unathrax says, all right, it is already too late. Already wheels are in motion. You can either be elevated to power or be crushed by the forces we unleash. So at this point, it's like, look out the window. You see all those trucks and stuff moving? It's already going.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to give you a choice here. And the Guildmaster's like, I guess you got me. Actually, you know what? I did have that idea the whole time to do that. So, all right, I'm on your side. So, boom, there we go. Now, everything is moving into place on Kiavahr. So, just before Eloquy walks out, Unathrax asks for a handshake. The robot goes, give me a handshake, please. And Eloquy takes it and he goes, ow, what the heck? And there's a needle point hidden in the gauntlet. It's classic, right? He gets him with the taser. I pranked you. He says, our neurotoxin Guildmaster is inactive at the moment of no threat. However, should you disclose my presence or betray our cause in any way, you can be assured that the catalyzing agent will be introduced into your system. Air, food, and water all can be used. And Omegon kind of says, like, all right, relax. Cool neurotoxin. We'll just shoot him. Unathrax tells him, when the Order of the Dragon takes control, the guilds will be of no further use. Better to lay the groundwork now and easier disposal later. So basically, it's they're already at another level here, right? Like, sure, we can get them on our side now, but we're going to have to kill them later. So might as well just get them kind of prepped for death later.
Yeah.
So back to the maze. They're moving through the Raven Guard, and one of them just kind of leans against the wall. And Sergeant Dora says, oh, hey, don't touch anything without the Primarch say so. And something shoots you, shoot back. That's it. That's all we got to go off right now. And he says, you got it. And then as they start walking, a gun drops from the ceiling almost immediately, and Lucar shreds it before it can fire. And it's like, just like that. See, that's what I'm talking about. So be aware.
I'm not gonna lie, you said that. I was just thinking of like somebody just literally dropped a gas like from a hole. Like, what? But no,
also, when the drop sounds like,
it's like, I got you.
Oh, see, anytime these guns can drop in on us.
But you mean like a turret?
A turret, yes.
Yeah.
A turret drops down from the ceiling. Yes, no. But it's just random guns. Stay on your toes. Yeah, that could, who knows? Maybe
it could happen at any time.
Anytime like that. You see Corax up top. Yeah, see? I'm testing you. So yes, they reach a bare featureless chamber, and this infiltrator, remember we talked about this, the Alpha Legion guy's hair that's been disguised as one of them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He is unsettled by this chamber, right? It's bare, it's featureless, there's nothing in here, right? Nothing to keep track of. And it kind of unsettles him because it's kind of the way Alpha Legion operates. It's kind of blank slates, these featureless things. I mean, even Alpharius and Omegon had that whole thing going on, right? You can never tell who's who.
Right. Is Alpharius alive during all this, or no?
No, I remember Alpharius died. Dorn kills him.
No, I just couldn't remember, because I know this is kind of your flashback.
During this, yeah, so he's still alive.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Sorry, yes. All that stuff that has not happened yet. This is basically a little bit after Isfan 5.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so, yes, Alpharius is alive during this time.
Mhm.
Omegon is too, and he's doing his own thing. So, the Infiltrator decides we should mark our route. Little, like, cuts in the wall, kind of just keep track of where we are.
Mhm.
And he does it, kind of makes like a small little cross, a little plus sign in the wall. But the problem is that kind of thinking almost gives them away. What are you doing? We said not to do that.
Mhm.
We said don't do anything that the Primarch says not to do. So these little things he almost messes up on, because that's the way Alpha Legion think. So he's kind of, remember we talked about before when he's fighting that guy in the duel, and he almost stabs him, and he says, "Where did you learn that?" He says, I don't know, it's kind of saw it somewhere. They're like, we all need to start doing that. And he's like, oh, okay. So he keeps kind of almost giving up, but then not quite.
Mm-hmm.
So Corax is moving with them as well, and he's kind of running this simulation in his head in a way, kind of keeping track of everybody in his mind, wherever he's going, the positioning, walls are moving, right? They have this incredible mind to do that. Playing chess against a Primarch would be impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So he is blocking out gunfire, because some guys are walking into traps and getting killed. So he's trying to block that out, like ignore that, need to move on. And he's about 23 minutes and 117 meters in. A legionary named Mathan takes a laser bolt right to the chest. And people go get him. They say, we need to bring him back. And Corax says, nope, leave him. Don't go in that room. There's probably more traps in there. And Kanor, the sergeant, or Kanor, says, come on, that's one of our guys. And Corax says, Sergeant Kanor says, Mathan is still alive. Barely. He needs treatment. And Corax says, you have your orders. Leave him.
Yeah.
He's already dead. So, remember, this is similar to Agapito accusing Nexon of making back the vault door. And now Corax is doing that now, where there's kind of coldness to his own people. And basically, because this goes all the way back to Corax saying, like, the gene tech is the most important thing. All of you will die unless I get that. Like, not all, I will let all of you die if I don't get that thing, basically.
Right.
Like, this thing is the most important thing to get.
Yeah. So is it the
like, if I'm the only one standing, then that's it. Then I will be the only one standing.
I'm trying to think, what's the phrase, like the few or the many over the few or whatever it is, like
right, the one for all for one type thing.
Yeah.
Yes, we're that from SpongeBob. All for what? One for all. So they keep moving on, and Squad 7 hits a trap that they weren't ready for. The chamber spins on its axis without warning, throwing the whole squad into a weightless freefall. And special weapons bearer Arhold Dane grabs a ladder, ready to steady himself, realizing the whole thing is live. And lightning arcs through his armor the instant his hand closes on the metal, earthing through exposed cabling at his waist, and he kicks himself free, basically, on reflex, but blacking out and watching the room spin again as they keep tumbling down and falling into a new room. They're basically in Cube. You ever seen the movie Cube?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Cube. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
One of them gets cubed by the big wires. It's a whole thing. So Door Squad reaches a gorge 250 meters wide and 7 gun turns covering it. And Corax says, we have the sprint, Sergeant. Just run. Huh?
What's the plan? Just run really fast.
Or just run. Take off all your armor and run really fast. So 43 seconds, they start running. So the Infiltrator goes first, and he basically throws a blind grenade into the dark, kind of to blind the turrets for a moment. And the turrets adapt mid-crossing. They stop aiming and they start. They're like, the turrets think, okay, if I can't see you, I see you shoot everywhere at once. So that's what they also do, is blind fire across the bridge. And the Infiltrator leaps through a wall of randomized fire he can't see coming, lands, and he keeps moving just without seeing. And he trusts that Corax knows on the other side, and trusts that the squad is still behind him. But then Marco goes down at the very last door. His leg is shot out from under him as the blast shielding starts to close. And Door says, leave him. But the Infiltrator ignores it. And he drops his own weapon, drags Marco under the door by his backpack, a half second before the door slams shut. And the problem is, they're like, what are you doing? But at the same time, that makes him seem like he's a true Raven Guard. Like this biological imperative to take care of your brother kicks in, right? Because if he's truly Alpha Legion, I don't care what Raven Guards, I'm here to do a job. Of course he's going to leave him.
Right.
Or something like that. I'm like, oh, you're just such a good Raven Guard that you could, even though I said leave him, you didn't,
Yeah.
So
He's cared so much.
he cared so much about his brother. He did the Indiana Jones. He took his hat from under the door. So as they get together for a moment, a guarding machine rounds the corner the moment they think it's clear. Twin cannons, tracked legs, basically a mobile sentry turret that Corax had warned them about earlier. And before the Infiltrator can bring his own bolter up, Lucar slams into him from the side, shoving him clear and taking the entire cannonade. Basically, he gets shredded up. But as he kind of takes that, gets shredded up there, the squad breaks apart the machine. Marco uses a multi-melta, Dora uses bolt fire, and Velps finishes it with a melta charge at point-blank range. Basically, they're throwing everything at this thing. It's like when you get ready for a Final Fantasy, and you're like, make sure I got all my items in my stuff.
Yeah.
So the smoke clears, Lucar is dead. Obviously. I mean, he just gets Swiss cheese. And the Infiltrator kneels over him and says, why did he push me out of the way? And Marco says, well, why did you drag me to safety? Same principle, right?
Yeah.
You're his brother. And he's like, oh yeah, yes, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, actually, I am his brother. And that's why he saved me. So, and the Infiltrator says, okay, I guess, yeah.
So the Infiltrator, is he... I know we kind of talked about he's in like the Raven Guard armor, and he has like some sort of...
He took one of his faces off a dead Raven Guard at Isfan 5.
Yeah, so it is like an existing Raven Guard. Like he's posing as a
dead, but not... Basically, he took a dead Raven Guard's face and acts like that Raven Guard.
Yeah.
So they don't know that he died on Isfan 5. So they still think it's him.
Yeah, that's what I was like. It wasn't just like, oh, who's that guy? I don't know.
I'm new. I just joined yesterday.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, so no, obviously that would work because they're like, interesting. Where did he come from?
Okay.
So yeah, he's assuming an identity here.
Okay.
But the problem is he's almost becoming the identity. Like when we talk about, he's getting the memories of the guy. He's acting the way the guy would act. So it's almost like, this is not a deep cut, but you ever play Metal Gear Solid? Like Liquid Ocelot? Kind of like how since he puts on Liquid Snake's arm, the arm starts to take over his body, and then he becomes Revolver Ocelot, becomes Liquid Ocelot. Similar to that.
Okay.
Where it's like, they kind of, these identities collide.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, ball. It's not ball. That's common knowledge. Play one game. I hate people say that. Anyways, I'm not gonna go on a tangent, but it's just like ball for like the Office reference. It's like, yeah, really?
Ball, and it's something like extremely common pop culture. I guess
it's like, do I? It's like you could just say nice reference. You don't need to. Anyways, so they keep moving on, and Sergeant Dora says we are brothers in battle. And the Infiltrator says, battle brothers. Battle brothers, no, brothers in battle. Battlesman. Battle brothers. I like that. Battle beast. What? If he was here, this would have gone way faster. So about 3 hours into power scaling, Battle Beast versus Space Marines. About 3 hours into the Labyrinth, Arcadis has stopped thinking about babysitting duty now. Corax's warning has saved his team 4 times over, including one of them, which was a vapor acid trap. Cube style. So they walk into Orbs and this acid deploys.
Yeah.
Arcadis drew back with seconds to spare. But this time, the warning isn't fast enough. A hatch opens up overhead and drops 3 silver orbs into the middle of the room. And Ganius, a custodian, cuts one apart with a guardian spirit before it can detonate, but the other 2 go up anyways, basically spraying acid across him and the Raven Guard beside him. This was that acid trap.
Okay.
And the Legionnaire dies almost instantly. Basically, the skull gets melted through. This is super acid, basically. If it's burning through a custodian's armor and face, this is some type of acid here.
Yeah.
But Ganius, on the other hand, basically it starts melting through his body, not through his skull. So it's like burning through his ribs into his organs. He's not dying from it because custodians are. Remember we talked about in Master of Mankind, one of those guys that like half his skull was gone and he's still fighting. So this guy is like burning alive but not dying. So our
organs are just like literally flying. It's like, ow, this hurt.
Oh, ouchie. Oh, you got me on that one. So Arcadis doesn't hesitate and he just takes his head off. He's like, obviously you can't fight anymore and you're suffering. So he does that. Sparing him, basically the acid is just eating through the rest of them.
This whole maze, I'm like all these ones. I'm like, I imagine like they're like, oh, it's okay, guys, and like, oh, leave them.
It's just cube. It's just cube with like 100 guys and a bunch of. And it's funny though because like there's a custodians dying now. You think the Emperor would be a little like, all right, maybe I should turn off the traps. Like
this might be a little intense.
Yeah, these are my special guys that are dying now, so maybe we have a problem here. So eventually they get to a point where they're at like the edge of the labyrinth, and 23 Raven Guard have died. 17 more are crippled and left behind. Like, just come back later, pick them up if we can. And 13 that are wounded but still moving. 3 custodians are dead as well. So this has been a huge effort. Corax has commits every name to memory. He's like, I won't forget any of these people. He'll put them on when he makes his game to be a secret room where all the Kickstarter backers are.
Yeah.
That's
the room with all the statues.
And they see a bunch of names. One of them is like a name that says like XX, Omega Wizard XX, and you're like,
okay.
I think this is a Kickstarter room because I don't think that's like a real name from the game.
I played a game like that. I went like, here you can choose what statues. I'm like, oh, cool. And I chose. I'm like, is this? I'm like, oh, this is a Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's a
room.
Kickstarter room.
Yeah, okay.
Little things. Okay, cool. I guess it's cool if you're one of those people. But yeah, so he logs them all up in his brain. So he is continuously thinking of the board like a chessboard here and all the pieces on it, but he's feeling every loss, right? Like real chess. I'm losing my pawns. I'm losing my kings, my rooks, all my guys. I'm getting to a position here where that I'm losing too many too fast. And basically, he thinks millions, maybe billions of the Emperor's own people will die if the Raven Guard fail here and can't slow Horus down. He says, I don't have any time to grieve. We got to keep moving. So they beat the Labyrinth. And what's left is they find a 5-meter circular door with no visible lock at all. No rune pad, no scanner, nothing to force open. It's just a sheer flat wall, like a circle cut out of it.
Okay.
So they have the servitors that could cut through it, but it would take days. And they said, we don't have that time. So Corax says it's a psychic lock. It can only be activated by the mind of the Emperor. And he looks at the Infiltrator, and who is, I think we said his name before, but Balsar Kurthuri, which was a member of the disbanded Librarius. He's like, you're a psyker. You can open this. And the Infiltrator goes, I don't. Uh-oh. You think I would realize that when I took his identity? And Arcadis is like, whoa, hey, wait, you can't do that. You're breaking the law. Remember, that's not allowed. Psychers aren't allowed.
Yeah, so true. We're breaking the law.
That would be illegal. So he steps between them and says, woe betide he who ignores my warnings or breaks faith with me. He shall be my enemy, and I will visit such destruction upon him and all of his followers that until the end of all things he shall rue the day he turned from my light. He's basically quoting what the Emperor said during the Council of Lycaeus. And Corax says, the Edict of Lycaeus, I remember the words well because I heard them to the Emperor. Don't you respect me, which I was never written. So Corax asked Balsar, and he was like, can you use your power still if you are released from your oath? And Balsar's like, that's what you think about what you're asking me to do here. If I do use my thing, it is punishable by death. And, he's basically saying, my lord, I also sworn in the name of the Emperor to cease using my abilities. Are you ordering me to break my oath? And Arcadis kind of move in. They go, are you? So they basically activate the halberds, and every bolter chamber in the chamber comes up, and even the Infiltrator. Because he's like, yeah, that's illegal. And Arcadis says, I will not allow sorcery, not on terror itself. And Corax says, do you judge the Emperor to be a sorcerer, Custodian, or perhaps his regent, the Sigillite? Curious. Nothing to his magic.
So true.
And Arcadis says, the edict does not concern my superiors, only the warriors of the Legionaries Astartes.
It's fine when they do it, just not anybody else.
Yeah, they are allowed to. Rules for thee, not for me. So nobody moves. Everybody's just sitting there in like a standoff here. And Infiltrator is watching Corax's face, basically making sure, like, what is he about to do? Because he's the only one in the room that could kill Arcadis quick enough if Arcadis does something, right? Because Custodian was so, which somehow 5 get killed by some Galvor back. It's funny because in that book, there's a part where there's this ritual happening on Cadia, and one of the Custodians, I can't remember his name. I think it's like Quintus or something like that, or I can't remember his name, but Aquilion, I think it's Aquilion. Anyways, he's like, if you guys participate in this ritual, I will kill you right now. And then Lorgar's like, sorry, man. I guess you're gonna have to kill us. And then all these spacemen try to fight this one Custodian, and he kills like 4 of them within like 3 seconds. And it's like, interesting. You kill 4 spacemen in 3 seconds, yet look, it doesn't matter.
But 5
are struggling with some demons.
Yeah,
sure, whatever.
Okay.
Like, obviously it's a book, whatever. But also, lore always changes, so it's just one of those funny things that looking back is like, that wouldn't have happened anymore.
They're all like really tired.
He was like really just exhausted. If you him just like, something. So they're all waiting. What do we do? And they're like, everybody in this chamber is going to die over a door. Like, is that what we're about to do right now? So Corax breaks the silence. He says, Father, do not abandon us. Something answers, though. A pressure fills the corridor, a weight that presses down on every mind in the present, and everybody feels it all at once. And a moment later, the door glows gold and swings open on its own, revealing an icy white antechamber beyond. Basically, he's like, I summon the power of the Emperor. And he's like, oh, that's fine. He's a psyker. He can at least, that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's different when he does it. So Corax bows his head and says something too quiet for everybody to hear. And the Infiltrator catches something else. He sees golden motes of light dancing at the lenses of Balsar's helm. On the instant, Corax steps in front of him to block Arcadis' view. And Corax says, it seems the Emperor has intervened. And Arcadis says, perhaps. So he stands the man and says, let's move on then. But nobody is fully convinced, least of all the Infiltrator. basically says to Corax, or corners Balasar and says, "That was not the will of the Emperor, was it?" And Balasar says, "I do not know what you mean. It is forbidden for me to use my powers. I was not relieved of my oath. I don't know what you're talking about."
Oh,
That could have been anything. But it doesn't sound like he's lying, but we don't really know. Maybe the Emperor used him as a channel to do it, or maybe Balasar was just like, flashbang. There it is.
must
Whoa.
have been the wind.
That was so crazy. Good thing I didn't break any rules, right, guys? Huh? Arm gets cut off. Don't touch me. So I think I said earlier that the Infiltrator is a librarian. He is not. A different guy is. But the Infiltrator would recognize the librarian, but he didn't recognize him. That's what I meant earlier, to make that more clear.
Wait, so hang on. The Infiltrator himself is not a librarian. I knew that.
Yes,
but he's oozing as one, or
no. Balasar Crusade is the librarian, but the Infiltrator didn't realize he was a librarian. I think.
Okay.
Yes, and that's why he was so confused too, because he's like, "Wait, what? This librarian? I'll kill him too." Yes, don't break the rules.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I meant. I might have said the opposite earlier, but I don't know. Anyways,
Okay.
So continuing on, beyond the antechamber is a dome circular room. It's pristine, untouched by time, basically as if it was like locked in a stasis. And at the center stands a towering machine wired into 20 smaller devices arranged in a ring. I think you can imagine what this is. These are incubators, and the Primarchs themselves were grounded, every one of them standing open and empty. And Corax recognizes the central machine's architecture immediately. He can tell it is similar to the same type of technology that the Golden Throne was built off of. Which is weird, right? Because if they don't know how the Golden Throne was built, how did they make this device?
Right.
I mean, obviously you can just copy some of the designs, right? In a way, but still, it seems odd.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, the Golden Throne was not built by them. And it's like,
yeah, the Emperor found it somewhere, and it was like this ancient technology from old ones, maybe Eldar. We don't really know.
Yeah.
And the Mechanicus are always trying to figure it out, and they don't really know how it works. It's going to become a problem more and more as time goes on, because it's, it's kind of failing in a way, I'll say. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Like maybe they took a chunk off and was like, use this to build the Primarchs. Who knows? So, and also there was another one we talked about, Dark Blast.
Oh, yeah.
That was like, oh yeah, that was 2 Golden Thrones. So
there's another one over there.
Yeah, but that one's gone now, so don't worry about it. So he goes up to Corax. Well, Corax goes up to his chamber, number 19, and the inside is gutted, cables hanging loose, and nothing left but the outer shell. Basically, for him, it's like, yeah, it was exactly the same as the one I came out of as a child. So yeah, most of the Primarchs, they land on their planets, and I think we've covered this before, but when the Primarchs land on their planets, they were like children age, like 5, basically. So they were little babies. They're not Superman, like little babies in pods. They were like old enough and capable enough where they could walk, talk, and do things. Obviously, the Primarchs as well, so they're even more advanced than that. So just to make that clear, because I think sometimes people think they land on a planet like a little baby in a pod. Like Angron, for instance, when he landed on his planet, Eldar went to go fight him, because they're like, we can see in the future that guy's gonna be a big problem, so we need to kill him now. And he kills all those Eldar. And you're like, how did a baby do that? Whoa. So no, he's like a 5-year-old.
Okay.
Which even still is so crazy, but obviously he's a Primarch.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, them trying to do that was what allowed the slavers on the planet to capture Angron and then put the butcher's nails in them, because it made them so tired from killing those Eldar. Which is like, so you guys kind of created your own prophecy. Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so he checks it and it's all broken up. And he's like, I remember this from when I landed on Lycaeus. So we go back in time again, back to him as a child on Lycaeus, or Lycaeus. I don't know. Sometimes these words trick me.
Yeah.
It's probably Lycaeus, but I said it before, Argel, then I call him Argel. It's Argel, whatever. So this goes back to when he's a kid, but this is after the rebellion, and the rebellion is over. He has won. He has taken over his planet, and Corvus commands the moon from the Black Tower. Which, do I have a picture of the Black Tower? I guess not. Well, maybe I couldn't find one. I don't know. So the Black Tower is this giant kind of panopticon tower that the people would be in to watch all the workers from like a central point. So he took it over. Now he's running it.
Okay.
And now he's a grown man, and he's kind of too tall to even fit in the control room. He's kind of hunched up like Buddy and Elf in the beginning. So he's called a savior by the people he freed, of course. And Kiavahr's technicals below have kind of turned on each other rather than face him. And he said, you kind of let them. He said, let them tear themselves apart. What do I care? So I was going to catch a unknown craft inbound coming to Lycaeus. And Branne, who we talked about, who is a space marine in the future, Branne. Right now, he is just a young person, so he's not quite a space marine yet. He asks, shall we fire? And Corvus says, no. Wait, let's see what this is. So Kiavahr hangs, full in red, but on all his mind workings, and Corvus feels like he can see the aftermath of the atomic strikes that his own forces dropped down the gravity well. Basically, to help take over this moon, he had dropped bombs on the planet, but not like nuclear bombs. It's a weird like thing. At least it like made a bunch of earthquakes that rattled up the planet.
Okay.
And he feels like he can still see them, like still see these craters. It's been decades though, or I said a decade. Sorry. So, but this is the first time it finally feels like it's over, right? We took over. We won. This moon is ours, and whatever's happening on Kiavahr, we can handle it later. So Agapito and Branne press him again. They say it's getting closer, and they say well, it's a shuttle. It's a dozen minutes at most. There's no threat. We can a dozen guys. He's no problem. We'll sort him out. And he says he orders a company of 8th wingers to meet him at the main dock. But something about the ship approach nags at him. He's like, something on board this ship I can tell means me no harm. Whatever it is friendly to us in some capacity. So he goes down to meet it in person, and the craft lands in, and it is kind of. Do I have a picture of what the craft will look like? It doesn't look like this. It might be similar to a Thunderhawk, but maybe not. Kind of that type of design, very small dropship type thing. So the figure that steps down from the gangplank looks completely unremarkable to Corvus. It's an average height, ordinary features, plain white robes. But every one of Corvus's men sees something different. Gaifion drops to his knees in tears, babbling about majesty and glory. I think you can imagine who this is. Corvus alone sees 2 images at once, flickering between an ordinary man and a golden demigod wreathed in fire. But he refuses to kneel. He says, I'm not doing that. I just beat this rebellion. But the rest of his followers can't help but kneel when they see this person. He says, who are you? What have you done to my men? And this person says, an occupational hazard. I'm the emperor of mankind. I created you. And Corvus says, whoa, he gets like a brain blast. Whoa. He all of a sudden sees the pod, and he sees him, and outside the pod, he's a whole thing. And he's like, my earliest memory, I saw your face. And then he kneels then. Because, of course, right?
Yeah.
Can't help it. So they talk together alone, and Corvus is talking to him basically, says, this is what I've been doing the whole time. I fought a war here, rebellion, I took over, it was a whole thing. And he says, I do have a question, like, how did I even get here? And the Emperor's mood kind of shifts a little bit. He goes, I don't really want to talk about it. He kind of explains, there's a warp, and there's these predators in the warp. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. Which, how much good that did them, right? And say, good move. Yeah, don't worry about the warp, actually. Don't worry about any of that. He says, you and your brothers were taken from me by denizens of the warp. So yes, they were taken away by the denizens of the warp. And he says, you have brothers, 17 of them. Interesting at this point, he says 17. That means 2 are already missing.
Yeah.
He says, you're the Primarchs, my finest creations. Which actually, wait, it says 17, that means there's 18. So it's when he counts Alpharius and Omegon as 1.
Oh, yeah.
Because wouldn't it be 19 then?
True.
Yeah. That's like that trick question.
Also 20 pods, right? So it's like, do they shove them both in the same pod?
So yes, Alpharius and Omegon are in the same pod when they're born. Okay. Because there's 2, it's one soul split into 2, is kind of the thing there. But it's like, there's still 2 people. They're just twins. Yeah. But I guess the Emperor doesn't see it that way. It's like that trick question, right? How many Primarchs are there? Are there 18? Are there 19? Are there 20? Or are there 21? It's like
that depends.
Yeah. There's one, Gilliman. Yes, you got it right. But yes, he says, you have brothers, my finest creations. And Corvus does the math. He says, wait a minute. My pod said 19. And he says 17. I remember that I was number 19. How can that be so? He says, you got me. He says, there are other 2, but that's a conversation for another day. Yeah.
But don't worry about it.
Hey, don't worry about those other 2. Hey, don't talk about it. Man, it's just so. There's only theory, like fun theory I like, is like, who are the other 2 Primarchs? I think a lot of the other fan theories are kind of annoying sometimes. But that was the only one's like, because they give you just enough to work with, but never enough where you're like, this is definitely what it was. Yeah. Like, whatever it was must have been, is so bad that they were erased from history. Because even like, Lorgar wasn't erased from history for what he did. Right. He was about to be, but he wasn't, So it's like, what did they do that was so much worse? And not even necessarily like, evil, just like that the Emperor deemed was so bad. Was it like fraternization with the aliens? Like, was it warp stuff? Were they 2 psychers or something? They got a little too crazy, but that's not impossible. It's Magnus.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, this problem is like anything you can think of, I feel like you've already seen. It's like, oh, what if they were demons? Like, well, just Angron, he's Wizard and Fulgrim. They're literally like demons.
Right. I mean, after the Horus Heresy, if, let's say, would they erase Horus from the records? It's like, right. So who knows, right? It's a very interesting thing. So, he tells us, don't worry about that. Instead, the Great Crusade is something I have going on right now. That's what we need to worry about. And he says, I'm going to give you a whole chapter of our whole legion of Astartes, all ready for you. They're made from your DNA. They're your sons, basically. And Corvus says, I swear my loyalty to you. I am your son, your Primarch, and your will shall be my command. And he says, your Raven Guard are ready for you whenever you're ready. And while they're getting ready, kind of to get the guys on the planet, Emperor says, tell me again about what you did on this planet. I want to hear about it. And Corvus said, basically on Kiavahr. He also wants to hear about that too. And Corvus says, yeah, this would be my plan if I could figure it out. So this is really the difference here, right? The Emperor sitting down and having a conversation with Corvus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes Angron so mad all the time, is that he never got that. Not one time the Emperor ever sit down and talk with him about anything. The only time he ever did was to say, hey, stop putting those nails in your guys. But he didn't even say that. He had Leman Russ do it. Mm-hmm. And Leman Russ beat him up real bad. And then actually, technically, Leman Russ lost, but his whole thing. Mm-hmm. Angron's like, no, I totally won. It's like, no, you didn't. No, but I totally did, though. Or even like, hey, can you teleport me and my barbarians or gladiators on your ship with you? No, just you. Cool. It's like, you know, I mean, there's like those little things like, of course Angron hates you. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You know, or just those little things like that. Or even Lorgar. You let him worship, that many people worship you for that long. It didn't say anything until like 100 years later where you're like, actually, no, I don't, this enough of this. Mm-hmm. And then you basically blew up his planet, his like perfect city, and then had Gilman like embarrass him. You know, it was a whole thing. And told all of his men to like kneel. You know what I mean? Like it's, all you had to do was just talk to these guys, but you just couldn't. All the person you could talk to is Corvus and Gilliman, you know?
Yeah.
Even the Lion, trying to think, how much did he talk to the Lion? Like, not really, not much. So yeah, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like funny, you can see 10,000 different futures. Yeah, you didn't notice one of them, hey, maybe I should be nicer to my sons?
Maybe we should at least talk to them.
Yeah. Help them, maybe? No, can't do that.
Yeah. Maybe just 2.
Yeah. No, just a couple, just a handful. The ones I need to keep around. So, back to the present day at the vault. Nexon is working on these pods, kind of clear the data, and Corax is watching. He's like, you know, just what are you doing? Can you explain what you're doing? I don't understand any of this.
Are you winning?
Are you winning? No, I don't understand this. And the Infiltrator kind of moves over, goes to number 20. He is like, it looks so familiar to me. And it's no bigger than the other ones, but basically 2 Primarchs, 1 is 1. And this Infiltrator realizes he's standing in front of the Alpharius and Omegon pod. And it's the reason why both of them run kind of similar, Omegon and Alpharius, because they're of the same pod, right? They're 2 soul, like I just said, they're 1 soul and 2 bodies. Mm-hmm. So he wonders for a moment whether the primogenitors who sent them here had any idea the place still existed at all, or if he accidentally stumbled into this. Like, did Alpharius and the Alpha Legion who sent this Infiltrator here to investigate this, did they even know that this is what he could find? Mm-hmm. Or was it just a total accident? Like, do any of the Primarchs or any of the Space Marines still even realize that the Primarch Project Worm still exists? You know?
Mm-hmm. Right. Do they know that exists, like, at all? Like,
yeah, they know, and like Lorgar knows because he kind of saw a vision of it. Horus knows because he saw a vision of it. Obviously, Corvus knows. I think most of them know. Okay, if they ever talked to him about it, said this is where you came from, this is what happened. I think Dorn knows. All these different guys, but I think they think it's like gone. Like, I think the machines are broken down or whatever, and they don't exist anymore. So like something like this, that's why it's so crazy. It's like, whoa, the notes are still here. You know. So Nexon locks in. And he is kind of getting overwhelmed by all his data flowing through him. Because I'm pretty sure he's a tech marine. And kind of what a tech marine looks like here. They're just like Mechanicus Space Marines.
Yeah.
They're not Mechanicus people, but they're basically Space Marines that train with Mechanicus to learn how to use machines.
Okay.
They're kind of a support type thing.
Yeah.
So he's getting kind of overwhelmed here. And he's seeing all his data fly through his mind. And he says, all the genetic files for you and your brothers. I have studied the splicing genes and the manipulation of the same for over 100 years, and I cannot comprehend more than a fraction of this. Like, everything I've learned about you guys isn't even close. Like, we didn't even scratch the surface. And Corax says, I have no patience for this right now. You need to hurry up. And he says, we do not have years. Horus raised himself for the offensive. I need something that will enable me to rebuild the Raven Guard, not spawn endless theses and theories for your Martian friends. He says, all right, relax. Martian friend? What? I have friends. So, as the Infiltrator keeps watching this, he's kind of getting a little worried here. He says, if Corax should actually rebuild the Legion from this vault, that it's not a threat to the Alpha Legion's own interest. It's an opportunity. Basically, if I steal this technology, then I could do that.
You want to put the entire Primarch pod in my pocket?
Hey, would you just put in your pocket there? What was that? What was that? Isn't that number 20 pod is just gone? I don't know. Could be anything.
What are you talking about?
What's his stomach shaped like Primarch pod?
Yeah.
So basically, he is having a kind of revelation of ever secure this technology first becomes the only power in the galaxy who can mass produce Primarch grade warriors at mass scale on demand. So forget 20, imagine 100, imagine 200. Then, they're going to fight each other still.
Yeah.
Because actually, I just read the short story, Malcador the Sigillite. It's like, I think it's like only 26 minutes, super short. I think it was like audible for like $1. I was like, oh, okay, like whatever. And he says in that short story that the Emperor knew that they were going to fight, and he actually purposely, genetically put it in them to fight each other, which I don't really understand totally. Like, why though? Why would you do that? But I think the thought was like, whoever comes in on top will then be the ultimate person. Like the half who wins and the half who stays around will be the best they can possibly be, or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to look into it and what people say, because it doesn't really make sense to me. I also was like, well, did you ever account for chaos? Because sure, that's what they're doing right now with Horus, but I don't think it's working out for you. Ferrus Manus is dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a weird one. But yes, so he starts to suspect that Horus's whole thing at Isfahan was never really about killing the Raven Guard at all. Like, he's starting to think about the third plan. Because remember, you've been over the 3 plans they had here. This guy doesn't know what the 3 plans are. He just knows that what his job is to do is kind of just stop whatever the Raven Guard are doing here. But he's kind of starting to realize, wait a minute, I'm here for a different reason. So it takes the best part of a day to move everything up to the waiting dropships. Basically, they're hauling these crates up with these different servitors and all these things, kind of getting ready to take all this equipment out and get ready to go. And the Infiltrator finds itself thinking about how long the Emperor must have labored to create what's inside. Decades, centuries, maybe even longer. I mean, I think it was like 10,000 years, I think, before he finally revealed himself. So it was a very long time. So I don't know how it's going to work out for Corvus, but whatever.
Yeah. So like the kind of information that he's getting is how to make not just Space Marines, but like a Primarch.
Yes, he's doing everything. Everything to make Primarch Space Marines, maybe even Thunder Warriors. I don't know, right? Like everything.
Okay.
So he is thinking, wow, like this is just incredible stuff here we've stumbled upon. And he remembers his own Legion's reunion with their Primarch, who was the last one found, supposedly the last one found. Some theories say he was the first one found, and he was just hiding until the end. So, and it was a very muted celebration. Every other Legion was like, yay, a Primarch here, whoopee! And then Alpharius was like, all right, let's go do Alpharius stuff. Like, okay. He's like, that was very fun. Like, Alpharius just almost treated as an afterthought, basically loose end tied off, rather than the culmination that the Alpha Legion believed it should have been. But this guy Velps doesn't know any of that, right? He says this one thing guaranteed that it's not going to be well is that he's thankful deep in his heart for the Emperor who created them all, and that the treachery of Horus and the others confound him. The Infiltrator says, I'm sure everyone will get what they deserve in the end. You deserve Murray, shoots him. But before the expedition can leave, Arcadis makes it clear that the Custodians are not done with the mission. He says, we come with you, or you do not leave. I leave the choice up to you. He says, we're going to keep an eye on you no matter what. And Corax says, hey, fair enough. Let's head back to Deliverance then. So he has 20 Custodians with him, who are going to get killed by some demons or something, I'm sure. And yes, so
one Alpha Legion versus
20 Custodians. I got them. Easy.
No, watch this.
Low diff. So they head back to Deliverance, back to the Ravenspire, which is the Black Tower, but even more built up now. It's this massive, like 2 times the, what's that building called in Dubai? The Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
2 times that size. Like, there's this massive spire that goes up, where basically it's the command center of Deliverance. So there's some damage here just from some rebellions, and Corax says he wants the damage to stay visible, basically, so people don't get complacent. Remember what can happen at any time, as these things are not so easy to take care of. Basically, a memorial to everybody who died freeing the moon. And he's looking down through the Stormbird's window, which is, I don't have a picture of a Stormbird, but I have a picture of Thunderhawk. It's very similar. I think a Stormbird is just basically a faster transport versus a Thunderhawk is more of a weapons transport.
Okay.
So and Corax can name every single kind of damage. He says, I remember this, I remember that happened, I remember this, right? Basically, Wing 8 is where he lived with his first followers. Wing 7 is where 4,000 inmates burned when the guards blew up the gas supply. And the gate, which is where a 13-year-old girl died, sealing shut behind the enemy. He's kind of going through all these memories as he's going back from Deliverance, because he hasn't been here in a while. So eventually he arrives and he addresses Deliverances, Remembrancers directly. That was a tricky sentence. I got it, though. I got it. And on Malcador saying to dissolve the whole program and send everybody back to Terra for debriefing. Basically, pack everything you have, hand over to Commander Branne, and you will never return. And people are kind of like, well, what? This is my home. And he says, yeah, but we have to do some stuff. So we can't stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And Corax raises a hand for silence. He says, enough. My hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. He's an elementary school teacher.
Like hips on lips and everything.
Yeah, be quiet. I'm speaking. So Malcador basically gave him a script and says, if they start getting crazy, read this. And Corax looks at it for a moment and he says, I don't need this. It's garbage. Malcador's an idiot. So Corax says, Horus has rebelled against the Emperor. You may have heard before Commander Branne left Ravenspire that a force of Legiones Astartes had been dispatched to confront the War Master at Isfahan. That confrontation did not end well. What? What happened?
No.
There used to be a lot more of us. So a young Remembrancer asks why years of collected material has been surrendered. And Corax says it's intelligence on Horus' rebellion gathered from Remembrancers who mingled with Luna Wolf's own. Basically, we can't give them anything to work with.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it also documents Deliverance's own defenses. So he can't really say that out loud. He's like, just hand me all your pictures of your house. I just need it. Why? It's just my house. Just give me the pictures. So yeah, he's basically being as careful as he can be here, especially because he's about to do something very experimental.
Mm-hmm.
So waiting under guard is a person named Iardo Kura, who is a Wordbearer's chaplain, who has been stuck with the Raven Guard since the Edict of Lycaeus, but he's been kind of basically arrested. Now he's just in a kind of prison cell, but he doesn't really do anything funny yet. Kura greets Corax for the relief, actually. He's like, oh, you're here, you're going to let me free, right? I swear, I'm not evil like the rest of them. And Corax says, you are a traitor. You're the enemy of the Emperor. And Kura says, I am not. I was put here by Malcador himself. And he's like, I've been nothing here but train recruits. And Corax says, yeah. Interesting. It was very convenient that you happen to be absent when the Legion gunned down the Raven Guard from behind. And Kura says, what evidence do you possess that I am anything but a loyal servant of the Emperor? I have been with your legion since Lycaeus. How can you hold me responsible for the actions of my Primarch? And Kura says, yeah, watch this. And he picks him up by his throat. And he says, this is my world, my legion. You pollute both with your presence. And he snaps his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He says, yeah, no, enough of that. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not arguing with you or bears. That's all you do is argue. And Agapito goes like, that was a little crazy. You killed him. And Solero says, hey, let him cook. Because he kind of just killed an innocent man.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any proof that Cora was bad.
Right.
Just kind of suspicions. And the fact that he just killed him without like a real trial is like, whoa, wait, whoa. Hey, isn't what Forrest says, kind of? So there's some suspicion there. And Solaro says, should we have not done that before his execution? And Corax says, we cannot take the risk of allowing a traitor in our ranks. Besides, I can smell the taint on him now that I know what it is. You know? We don't know if it literally means that, because, I don't know. Maybe they have like weird powers. So maybe there's like a weird chaos, like miasma around him. He has like the JoJo like menacing full glow. He's like, oh, there it is. Yeah, kill him now. So Solero kind of like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. And Corax says, too long we have kept this secret. It was the Emperor's will, but no longer matters. He underestimated his threat, basically talking about Psychers and Castanakia. Like, this is too dangerous. He says, you know what? Just, my judgment is clouded. Give me a moment. I'm a little overwhelmed here. I'm overstimulated right now. Solaro is like genuinely confused when he leaves. He's like, what is happening? Agapito isn't. Agapito's like, nah, you weren't there. It was the whole thing. Don't worry about it. And it says the taint had a name he had heard whisper the first time on Isfahan, Chaos. So remember, this is just after Isfahan. So Chaos, taint, and warp, and demons and stuff, it's still kind of new information. The only people that even kind of know is like Blood Angels, right? Because the whole thing with Cygnus Prime. And that's still, I don't know if it's happening at the same time this is, but it's very close.
Yeah.
So, because even during that, the Blood Angels are like, what is happening? And Sanguinius says, these are demons. They're like, what? And he's like, don't worry, just kill them. So, yeah, this is very just different kind of thing for them.
Yeah. And I can't remember, were there demons on Isfahan 5?
No, it was, I mean, there were Noise Marines, but those weren't demons.
Yeah, okay. They're like Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, they were like just juiced up by Fabius Bile's experiments. So they're really demons, but I guess Fulgrim, but he wasn't in his demon form, but he was possessed by a demon. So it's like, yeah, there were no demons yet. I mean, the first time really demons started fighting on like the battlefield is like, I think I have to look, but it's definitely not now. So demons are kind of fake news. So they build this new facility for these experiments, and there's a training facility buried in the middle of a century-old atomic blast zone, basically because they're like, nobody's going to come here. It's too radioactive. They'll die. Obviously, Space Marines can handle it. They're just built different. So Corax handpicks every legionary for the job here. Basically, nobody who hasn't already been part of the Vault expedition. No serfs, only warriors he's trusted with this secret. So everybody who was with him in the Vault gets to work with him here. Nobody knew. And the Infiltrator is like, kind of ironic, this whole secrecy thing, isn't it? And he says, you guys are amateurs. You don't even know what you're doing. Secrets. You think you can hold a secret like us? You can't hold a secret like us. And he says it out loud. And one of them are like, what would you just say? Nothing. What do you mean like us? What do you mean by that? So they're moving, hauling some crates in here, getting their whole facility built up. And the Infiltrator gets stopped by Branne. And Branne looks down and says, this crate is marked for the infirmary. You're going the wrong way. And the Infiltrator goes, what? He says, to be honest with you, I just don't know what the infirmary is. And one of the other one, Vincente 6. Vincente 6 is such a crazy name.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what was it? Nikki 6 from, was it Van Halen? No. Van Halen? I don't know. One of the drummers. I think I have a picture of Vincente, actually. Or maybe not. I don't have a picture of Vincente. Oh, there he is. Very normal looking guy. But Vincente 6, he's an apothecary. I think, I'm going to guess because of the blood and the little, I think he has needles. I guess he's an apothecary.
Okay.
If I read my notes, it does say Legion's Chief Apothecary. Man, I love when I just don't read ahead. Yes, I'm an idiot. Yes. So he says, come here. I'll show you where it is. He's like, I get it. It's kind of confusing. We're really kind of a confusing layout here. And 6 kind of says, like, look, I'm the Chief Apothecary. I feel like even I'm kind of stepping out of my zone here, So don't worry about it, buddy. And the Infiltrator says, yes, it is difficult to figure your way around here, isn't it? So he escapes yet again from suspicion. So Tech Marine, Stradon Benalt, I think we've talked about him before. Picture Tech Marine, I had it there with the things.
Yeah.
He is kind of thinking, like, just kind of, this one question is kind of gnawing at him a little bit. Why did our armor do nothing against the Traitor's bolter at the Urgal Depression? And he shows Agapito directly. He says, a standard round against an empty shoulder plate leaves most of it intact. He swaps the magazines for a round he reverse engineered 2 ways. Basically, from ammunition fragments he recovered from dead Raven Guard, and experimental rounds the Imperial fist secured from Mars before the Forge world split apart. They had their whole civil war. And when he tests these rounds, the shoulder plate blows up into fragments. And he says, vengeance. This is impressive, but profoundly worrying. It means the traitors had access to Martian developments before Isfahan. So basically, they realized, oh, wait a minute. Mars was doing some funny business.
Yeah.
So they're realizing this rebellion wasn't a spur of the moment thing he was planning before. So Benalt kind of says, what we need to do then is reinforce multi-plate shoulder guards that shred the outer layer but hold on to the inner, basically a crumple zone. And Agapito watches the demonstration and says, I killed at least 100 Space Marines on Isfahan. They're legionaries of stories, just like us. Something I never thought I would have to do. He says, basically has, like, it's still a lot for them to reckon with, that they have to kill their own brothers, or I guess cousins. I guess, I don't know. They call them brothers, which is weird because, like, aren't you guys technically cousins?
Yeah.
Technically it's your uncle's kids, So I don't know. So it's a lot to kind of build against fighting your own guys. So going back to a guy named Marcus Valerius. Remember we talked about him? He is this guy here, this little picture, the human Imperial Guardsman guy.
Yes.
And he is at his family's estate. He's at his niece's birthday party. I think you imagine something bad's probably going to happen here. And he's pushing past distant relatives to reach a gallery where his own family is seated. His father is Caesari, Caesari, quite Caesari, we're doing like the Roman pronunciation. Valentinus Valerius, who is the ruler of Therion and a decorated veteran of the same cohort Marcus serves in himself. And they welcome home, embrace before Marcus announces that he carries important news. He says, down on the conservatory floor, every conversation with earshot has already gone quiet. Basically, everybody's listening. What is he saying? And he says, Horus has rebelled against the Emperor. And here he goes. And the record scratch, huh?
Like 5-year-old niece, like, oh,
who's Horus? Basically, everybody stops at once. And everybody starts kind of panicking a little bit. Like, what does that mean? My stocks, no. I had Luna Wolf stock. I had Luna Wolf coin. Oh, no. So Caesar locks the party down. He says, all right, everybody relax. Every communication device is confiscated. Veterans on every exit. Basically, nobody leaves until we figure out what's going on here. Because any of you could be on Horus's side. Nobody's going anywhere until we figure out who killed Salty. And then he turns basically the crisis into a plan. He says, you know more about this than me. He says, I'm in charge. You're Vice Cassari now, full authority. Antonius will take over as Prefector. And Marcus drops on one knee, and so as the cohorts open the spot. He says, I will serve for the Emperor above all others, for Therian and Enlightenment. Basically, they need to form a kind of a new little group here. His dad takes back over again.
Okay.
So that's kind of what's going on there. So back to Corax, he finds the work stalled. Six in Nexen. Too many X's in these names. Corax into 6, Nexen. What are they, dragons from Elden Ring? They spent 20 days trying to isolate the specific gene sequences to let a Primarch grow to a full size in a fraction of the normal time. But the math isn't math in here, right? It ain't working out. Millions of possible permutations, 20 wildly different Primarch gene codes to compare, and a common core of shared material far smaller than anyone expected. Nexen says, my mathematical analysis suggests it would take at least 5 years of continual study. And Corax is, we don't have 5 years. That's, what? So he basically dips into the Emperor's memories that he gave him. And all of a sudden, his 5 straight minutes, his fingers are moving across the console faster than his mind can comprehend. He's just like, what's that, the gif of the fingers that, like, from, I think it's from Ghost in the Shell. The guy who starts typing, his like fingers open up into more fingers, and
Oh, yeah.
across the keyboard. He's doing that right now. And isolating the gene fragment cell duplication sequences, basically doing it for them. And Orlandius is watching. So this masterful work, unable to look away from it. And he says, if only it were that simple, that still leaves you with 72 different gene strands to analyze. Basically, I can't finish it, right? It wasn't my work. It was one of the memories of the Emperor. So Nexen and 6 are arguing, right? They're like, so what do we do next? He says, do we skip the gene seed modification entirely and clone new warriors from scratch? Is it growing them from a single template cell? And then they're like, yeah, maybe that seems dangerous. But then they're like, I don't know, let's see what Corax thinks. So Corax hears a proposal, and he explains why the Emperor never did that. He says the resultant legionaries would be identical. Without random mutations present in the wider human genetic structure, there is no possibility for variation. Legionaries Astartes are successful because we are similar, not identical, right? You can't have incest, basically. We can't have the same genes.
Yeah.
Infiltrator was like, huh? All my guys look the same. What do you mean your guys? You keep saying that.
Who's your guys?
Explain. And he continues, a legionary is the incarnation of the Emperor's plan, a perfect symbol and example for mankind to aspire to, not simply a tool of war. It is humanity that the Emperor will lead in the conquest of the galaxy, not some new species made to order in a laboratory. And he says, cloning is only the last resort. We will not clone unless we absolutely have no other choice. 8 days later, 300 novitiates. So you pronounce it? Novitiates? Novitites? Anyways, novices. Stand at attention for their Primarch. Basically, these guys were made the old-fashioned way. They're ready to go. Just 300, though. It's not going to work. So most of them are seeing him in person the first time for only a second in their lives, basically. Among them, 10-year-old Navar Hef has heard every rumor circling through the recruit blocks that are being shipped straight into combat, and Deliverance itself is under threat. But this is all just a loyalty test, and Corax settles it himself. He says, the War Master Horus Lupercal is a traitor to the Emperor. The Raven Guard have suffered badly from his treachery, and our own strength is much diminished. You'll be the first legionaries that start us back on the road to recovery, the first generation to fight for a return to glory. And he says, this is going to be very hard, though. Understand you. You're going to have a harder test than any other legion will have right now. He gives it a little bit of he says, but don't worry, you'll handle it. You'll be all right. So they head up and go do what they need to do. So back on Kiavahr, they don't know what's happening with Kiavahr, Corax right now, because this is stealth, right? This is stuff that's happening very quietly, very hiddenly, perfect alpha legion work. So Corax has no idea because one, he's working on his project on the moon, and also it's like there's nothing to see right now. So all of a sudden, a sentry skull implodes in his fist, right? He has a sentry and he crushes its skull. And for the first time since he arrived, Omegon feels something close to relief. His fellow alpha legionaries, Rufon and Elias, dump the body into a chem pool without a word exchange. And Omegon tears a corded grate off the sewer inlet and drops dark beneath the city. Basically, they're going loud. He said, we're rolling in now. No more sneaking business. We've done casing. Going loud. So he cuts through a deck plate in a communications relay room, and Omegon wires himself directly into the system. And he tunes past every frequency until he finds the exact one, a private channel key to a cipher known only to the twin Primarchs. It says effort code Hydra 7 Omega. The message waiting for him confirms everything that he's hoped for since the whole operation began. He gets one that says, Lord Effort, this is Alpharius. Infiltration successful. Objective identified as Primarch genetic data. Location is Ravendell, awaiting instruction. So the infiltrator with them this whole time is Alpharius. Yes. Of course it is. It can't not be Alpharius, right?
Yeah. This is what, the second time this has happened, where it's like, and it was actually Alpharius the whole time?
Well, technically this is the first time, and then when we get to
That's true, that's the second.
when he dies, that's the second time. When he's the guy, I forgot his name. Solanius or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
dude that was like in the like container.
In the vat, and he drops out of the vat, and he's just like, who am I?
Yeah.
So yes, this works the one time. He's like, I can do it a second time. It didn't work the second time. Gordon sorted that out quick. So yes, Omegon says, but be careful. Because if he cracks his Primarch gene seed and rebuilds the Raven Guard at scale, like this threatens everything that Cabal and Horus accomplish. Basically, if any of this works out, the Cabal is going to know that we failed, and Horus is also going to know that we failed. So we need to destroy it immediately. Actually, at this point, it's too far gone. We need to just destroy it. We can't take it now. We can't quite make the order, right? He's like, maybe, let me think for a minute. Maybe I can if we kill them and sneak it out. No, he's planning. Because maybe it's Corax succeed, and feel like he succeeded, and then we sneak it out and take it, right? So he's like, you know what? Let's just make the Raven Guard do the hard work first. Let them get all that stuff ready for us so we don't have to do it, and then get it. So they have 3 stages of this plan. None of them end with Raven Guard surviving. No matter what, they will die at the end of this. So first is to strip the Terran technology, the Alpha Legion's own use. Second, destroy what's left of the Legion. The whole have been hidden from both the Emperor and Horus alike. He said they're going off script here. And third, hand Kiavahr over to Horus's cause, and the Alpha Legionnaires quietly wear the faces of the dead Raven Guard indefinitely. Basically, every single Raven Guard is going to be Alpha Legion. Which would be insane. What a reveal that would be.
Yep. It's actually everyone.
Every single Raven Guard is Alpha Legion. What?
Huh?
So Omegon says, effort code Omega 7 Hydra. You are contact 1, aside subchannel Alpha 3. Orders will be forthcoming. So Omegon runs a routine trace signal out of habit, and what he finds is routine although. The transmission carrying his agent's report didn't come from some low-level squad box. It came from a triple secure Raven Guard channel, and originated at Ravenspire itself, the highest level command frequency in the whole Legion. Basically, that his own infiltrator has access to that deep in Corax's command structure is more than Omegon expected. He says, oh, good job, Alpharius. You got even farther than I thought you would. So, the Gene Tech project they're getting it rolling here, and they have rows of cages holding results of failed implementation. Animal subjects twisted into oversized wrecks of extra limbs, fused bone, descended spines, this nasty stuff. And Nexus says, no, we can keep trying. We can, figure it out. And 6 says, we'll leave the mindless ferocity to the world eaters. We need disciplined, efficient warriors. What's wrong with the world eaters?
Also, it's world eaters pre-nails, so it's probably just regular.
No, they're nails right now. So,
well, no, I mean the people that they're making. It's we're leaving for the world eaters.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's world eater. The world eaters aren't born that way.
Yeah,
they get the nails installed.
Yeah,
dummy. And also, they're not animals. What? They're guys. But this also shows how other Space Marines see other Space Marines, right? It's just because they're cousins or whatever, really doesn't mean they don't think I think it's in one of the books. I don't know if we covered it, but I think it's a conversation between Fulgrim, Jagatai Khan, and somebody else. And I think it's Fulgrim says Jagatai Khan, I've heard you do strange things with your warriors, right? Because they do the white scar thing. They do the scar. And Jagatai Khan says, I heard you do strange things with your warriors. Basically implying something else. I think we missed it, but it's very just what? No, I don't. Huh? A guy walks in with 100 piercings and tattoos. He just does that. I don't do that.
That was his choice.
I don't know if it was Angron, because I think he says Angron, you do the weird things they could the butcher nails. I don't know. I don't find the quote, but it's something funny like that. And a lot of people don't actually like it because it feels a little out of character for Jagatai Khan to say that. To insult a Primarch, because he usually doesn't. I think he actually kind of likes Fulgrim, at least before he's a demon, because he likes the way he moves. Most people actually like Fulgrim before he's a demon, because of this. One, he has the Emperor is Aquila, which is a sign of you guys are really good.
Yeah.
And 2 is you just were perfect at everything, So
yeah. No. So I'm just thinking out loud. They're trying to steal this gene technology, and I guess Raven Guard's goal is to make more Raven Guards,
yes.
Right? But then Alpha Legion doesn't have gene seed issues or whatever.
No.
So
they just want the knowledge.
They just want it. Because then also I was thinking would anybody attempt making a Primarch?
I mean, if you could, you might.
Yeah.
A Mechanicus definitely might. They might be oh, we can make a robot Primarch, something like that. So it's going to be useful no matter what.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about before, it gives you technology to basically turn off Space Marines as well.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like an off switch in a way. So it's like you also have to have the power to like do that. It's just any of this knowledge in Alpha Legion hands is just going to be bad.
Yeah.
Because they're going to figure out some way that's really bad for everybody to use it.
Yeah.
They might be the new guys. They'll kill Horus somehow.
Yeah. And I was just thinking like if like all the legions just trying to make Primarchs, that kind of makes the Primarchs themselves obsolete in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, because they're all equal. Like they're not that much more special than like if they made a bunch of other Primarchs and stuff. But anyway, yeah, that's just
right. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the issue here. Now, obviously, Corax doesn't want that. He just wants to make mass-produced Space Marines here.
Yeah.
He's, they're kind of like this is pointless. We're not getting anywhere. And he says, well, it's better we mutate animals than recruits. So silver lining. So, but Orlandrias points out something that Agapito has noticed is that some of the animal cages aren't mutated. They're just bigger. Like they just are just enhanced. And Nexon says, I estimate the entire process, once perfected, will take between 70 and 80 Terran hours. So basically, 80 hours to grow a boy into a legionary. And 6 adds the kicker. He says, the private material means recruits will emerge with mental and physical aptitudes beyond anything before seen. Fast learners on top of everything else. So, kind of answer your question a little bit. They're not going to make them into Primarchs, but they're going to have Primarch capabilities. So, fast minds, stronger muscles. Because remember, the Primarch process of making the Primarchs, you also need like a body and like using warp energy. So they can't make the Primarchs literally like they have those 20 now.
Yeah.
But they can basically go into their tool set and say, oh, this guy should have Angron's muscles, or this guy should have Corax's like ability to like hide in the dark, stuff like that. So it's basically a tool set.
Okay, got it. So they would not be on par with a Primarch.
They would have some of the abilities maybe of the Primarchs. They wouldn't be physically the same.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that warp energy and all the Emperor's like biomancy and stuff he did to make them.
So, and then also them kind of like trying to, I guess, grow these Space Marines or that kind of stuff. Like, are they trying to like basically naturally do all the surgeries that a Space Marine would get? Okay. Yeah.
So they still need to do all the implants. There we go. The organ stuff. But it would, instead of taking years, this is going to be done in 80 hours. So that's what? A little over 3 days? 3.5 days?
Yeah.
So that's crazy. That you can make Space Marines in 3.5 days instead of like 10 years,
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. So watching the novitiates run laps brings back memories, basically, to Alpharius. He is remembering Alpha Legion's librarians. They stripped his real training history and grabbed Ravenguard in his place. And he is kind of having this kind of overlap of memories here. And the false memories are starting to arrive faster than they used to, basically sharper and less controllable. Basically, he's almost turning into the guy that he took the identity of in a way. And this young guy named Nagar Hef, his rifle jams during firing practice. And Alpharius corrects him. He says, the blast run did not properly clear the chamber. Look. And he says, punishment 10 laps, battle pace move. Which takes me back to the basic training. He said they didn't get punished for that. It was more of like, hey, so put your gun down for a second.
Hey, so don't try to fire that.
Yeah, just put it down and let me handle it. Because, good thing. Let me try to handle it. Close it in your hands. All your fingers are gone. I remember one time we had, I think it was a SAW or M240. And a SAW is, you play Call of Duty, right? SAW is a little light machine gun. M240 is a little heavier duty. So it was one of them kept jamming because it's belt fed. And it's very easy for it to jam because it's on there's like a flat track that kind of locks into the thing.
Yeah.
So this kid was firing it. Basically just do like you hold it down for like I think you count to 3. 1, 2, 3, let go. 1, 2, 3. Because if you hold it down, obviously it's not in games, that's annoying, but your barrel will melt. It'll just melt and deform, and then you'll have a whole issue there. You actually have to replace the barrels as you go because they overheat and they'll melt. So it's not fun like the games is. So you hold for 3 seconds. Also, because the recoil is insane as well.
Right.
Obviously, you're shooting it from a bipod on the prone, down and prone, but you just don't want to hold it down. It's just too. It's a weight. Also, it's a waste of bullets. Anyways, so kids hold it down. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Or hold 1, 2, and it jams. And the guy said, "All right, look away." You have to look when you clear. You have to look away. You lift the thing up. It's like a little metal plate. You lift it up and you wipe your hand over it. Basically, knock out anything that's in there. And then he wipes it out. Refeeds the belt. Closes the thing back. Says, "All right, go thing. All right, go again." 1, 2, 3. Jam. He's like, "Oh my goodness." He's like, whatever. He's like, he closes it. He's closes it back. He's like, "All right, just hold it down." And the kids hold it down. It's like, boom, 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 just lighting up this whole thing. And the kid was like, "Yeah." And I was like, man, I bet it's like, must be so fun to just light up the whole, like, because you shoot like a fake truck.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like super satisfying. And also we had to shoot like the ET-4 rocket. Only 2 people had to shoot, and that was pretty crazy.
Mm.
Because rockets don't explode a big fireball like people think. They just kind of hit something and just break it apart.
Yeah.
But anyways, that whole part reminded me of that. Just, shooting and clearing the chamber and all that. I'll tell you, M4s jam, like the smallest piece of sand can be in and they jam. It's such a dumb made thing. But anyways, so he's watching this guy Hef run, and the Infiltrator feels something new. Says Hef is a good recruit, but he's also marked for death, along with the rest of the Legion, right? Alpharius' job here is to kill all the Raven Guard, but he doesn't really want to anymore. It's like, but that's my guy right there. I'm teaching him how to be good. So he has to say it, and instead he's like, I'm Alpharius. Phew. He's like, no feelings. Detach.
So what did you say?
I'm Alpharius. Hey, what was that? I said Alpha Legion are stupid. Yes, right? And which is funny, because Alpharius is a Primarch, so even he's somehow getting this weird dual identity thing.
Yeah.
Because like with Selenius in the future, that's an Alpha Legion guy already. So it's easy there's no weird memory mismatch because it's Alpha Legion memories.
Right. It was like all he had was like a code word, right? And it was like, boom.
Yeah, I'm locked in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's struggling with this because he's like getting too much memories from Raven Guard stuff, especially because it was from a veteran that was from Terra itself. So this is an old guy that had real experience with the Raven Guard.
Okay.
So Branne comes back from Ravendell, from summons from Corax, and he finds controller Afrenia, who is promoted to run the command center after Isvan's losses, is waiting with the data slate. Following his own orders, she's been auditing every communication the executed Wordbearer's chaplain had access to and find transmissions carrying a Legion Space Marine signature. Legiones Astartes is so hard to say. I'm surprised I haven't stumbled over it more.
Yeah.
But yes, a Space Marine signature. And Branne assumes traffic from allied ships and system until Afrenia narrows it further. It's encrypted, compressed, flash traffic. One transponder code that he recognizes immediately. Afrenia says, yes, Commander, it is a Ravenspire access cipher. I came to you directly because of that. It's Commander Agapito's broadcast channel. And Branne tells us that his brother will have a reasonable explanation for this. I'm sure it's nothing crazy. Now I don't know what he's going to say, but he'll figure it out, I'm sure. So Branne goes, Agapito, and he watches him. He says, that's my command channel. He says, I know. He says, you tell me, brother. And Agapito says, maybe it's a glitch in the system. Maybe something weird happened. You're not being funny, are you? And Agapito says, I do not know, brother. If you have some charge to make, then speak it plainly. Your crude hinting is testing my patience. And Agapito says, well, look, and then you're going to be arrested and interrogated then. That's what's going to happen here, because this isn't weird. And Branne backs up and says, no, look, it's going to be, look, what do they say? It's a glitch in the system, right? And Branne says, I don't understand you, brother. No, it's fine. It worries me. And basically he's like, why are you lying to me? It's this weird thing here. Like, what's going on between these two? Maybe this is really, he's really Alpharius. Whoa, we're a double ruse. So Corax is waiting and waits for his commanders while Six completes the first trial on living recruits. And the apothecary opens the door, blood on his robes and gloves. And he says, it worked. He says, come here and take a look at this. So you see 9 men standing in the infirmary, already the height and build of a full Space Marine. Black carapace tissue already growing beneath their skin. Every enhanced organ Legionary carries is going in place in days instead of years. And Solero Press is like, how did you figure it out? Like, are the progenoid glands, right? The gene seed stuff even ready? And Nexon says, once the modified gene seed is finished, we will be able to reproduce from source. There will be no need of the amputated in-host maturation you currently rely upon. So usually what they have to do is, we talked about before, patients have 2 gene seed implants, one in the chest and one in the neck. Usually, I think it's one of the neck. No, it might be. I think it is the neck. When it's ready to go, they usually do a surgery. They remove it so they can make more. And it's kind of a surgery that takes time and in surgery. Now, the other one is if they die, you just stab this giant claw and rips it out, takes that one. So you can basically get 2 Space Marines out of 1. Yeah. Now this guy is saying you don't need to worry about the time anymore. We can just also grow this gene seed in a vat. Like, we don't even do the surgery anymore. So we can. Instead of 2 for 1, it's like 10 for 1 type thing. Okay. But he said, well, 1 recruit didn't survive, though. A microscopic heart defect ruptured under the speed of growth. But the thing is, that would have killed it anyways, even without the gene seed. 6 Interlane Drias say it's fixable without a screening. We just got just one better test on our recruits. And they say, yeah, fair enough. So, hey, we got 9, though. 9 out of 10 is pretty good. I mean, if any clinical trial had 9 out of 10 successes, you would run that drug to scale. Right.
Call the toothpicks. 9 out of 10 dentists.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 dentists. One of the dentist's head blew up. But the other ones didn't. So I think we're onto something. usually the side effects are more scary, right? Like, 9 out of 10 doctors were fine, but one did die from this. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to take it then, you know?
Yeah, I love the drug commercials that are like, may induce vomiting, death. And it's like, huh?
Vomiting, diarrhea, heart palpitations, cold sweats, hot sweats, fingers falling off, blindness in one eye, blindness in both eyes, death. This is a medicine for headaches. What? Oh, I just have a headache then. My goodness. This is a medicine for like, it's something like cosmetic too, always.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think you should sell this. This is not FDA approved. What? You can't sell that. So Corax is kind of looks around. There's 9 guys that are still around. He says, these are 9 of the first of thousands, tens of thousands when he had finished. It's for that reason that we must do everything we can to force Horus to hold back his attack on Terra. And he looks at one of them, this guy named Halvar Diara, directly in the eye, and asks him truthfully, how do you feel? And the guy says, I feel strong and healthy. I'm ready to go. And well, Corax says, is that how you feel, strong and healthy? You know? And Diara says, I'm ready to kill traitors. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about. He dabs him up his old thing. He does the thing from Smiling Friends.
Yeah.
I knew you, my guy. Come here. All rotoscoped. So 6 days after the successful implementation, Corax is pulled out of a 12-hour research binge by Afrinia. And she is kind of laughing. She says, 2 Imperial fish ships have arrived. And, you know, great, we're getting more help. And Branne is kind of in a standoff with Nora. Is like, what do we do? Like, do they have to do like land like we land, like humans land? Like, what are we doing? Like, how do we? And Corax reaches the command chamber, and Branne says, look, I think we got to hold them at arm's length here because they missed one of our like hails. That's suspicious. And Nora says, but what if they're carrying messages from Dor and Malkador and wanted they approach quiet on purpose? You know, we don't know. There's too many mysteries.
They do the space marine class. They slowly creep up. Like, I don't know what's happening.
It's just space debris. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no! They turn the engines on and blow them away. Oh no! They did the same thing we did. So Branne went back down until Corax personally steps in and he says, "We're going to do what he said. We're going to do his procedure." And kind of tears into him. He's like, "Man, like, why are you always arguing? Goodness!" And Branne says, "My fault, boss, my fault." And he says, but the Imperial Fist breached security. You said to do that. Why are you yelling at me?
Guys, we broke the rules.
You made the rules. Corax says, you forced me to support your stance, Branne. I'm not about to countermand the orders of one of my commanders in front of another legion. But I do not agree with your response. Do not allow your personal feelings to impede your duty again. And Branne leaves stupid. So it's stupid anyways. And Corax is like, something is wrong between these two. Not just like professional, just like arguing, but like something going on here. He's Alpharius. Get him.
They're both Alpharius.
Alpharius and Omegon were here the whole time. And why are they arguing with each other? They're supposed to be on the same side. So Nora's real reason for the quiet approach turns out to be kind of a gift, actually. Branne finds Rose a brand new armor locked to struts and deep pressurized cargo hold. 2,000 sets, artificer made, pre-production Mark 6, the latest design out of Mars, with the most improvements the Raven Guard themselves suggested after testing the prototypes at a Scallon campaign. Dorn made sure his legion never forgot those who blood paid for the design. So remember, they talk about like, hey, we need better armor because we're getting shredded by bolter fire. So Captain Nora says, it is named after you, Lord, as thanks to the part you have played in the loss you suffered when testing the prototypes. Lord Corax has insisted that the Raven Guard will take fight to Horus's forces. Lord Dorn sends these gifts to your legion as a mark of support. So these are, I'm pretty sure the Mark 6 armor is these ones, is the Beaky armor.
Okay.
That you always like see the Raven Guard with now. This is the Mark 6 Corvus armor. They used to wear stuff like this, kind of, but this is mostly the Iron Warriors have this kind of look now, or even like this look, right? You know, these look. So yeah, you mostly see with this Beaky look now.
Okay.
So Branne says, works out basically the actual value of what's being offered here, and he says we should get we want to push for more than just armor, right? And Nora's goes further, and he says he offers to place his own command under Raven Guard authority, and names what Branne actually did Isfahan for what it was, but something Branne says let himself believe since he was there for the massacre itself. Captain Nora says, against overwhelming opposition, you rescued Lord Corax and the remains of your legion from Isfahan. That is a feat worthy of respect and praise. You're a hero of the Imperium, Commander. And they start betting, I bet my whatever that I'm going to kill Horus first. He's like, I bet this, I'm going to kill Horus first. So they basically kind of get over it, their whole argument. But Agapito isn't confused at all about what Branne found here. He's furious that his personal cipher was broken, and he basically says, Branne was stumbling around, searching for something but not knowing what it was. His careless investigation threatened to uncover everything by accident, and that couldn't be allowed. Now, before Agapito had a chance to make his move. So whatever Agapito's actually doing is something. We don't know. And all of a sudden, a box chime interrupts him. Arcadius wants a private word. What are you doing, Agapito? And Agapito assumes Branne is behind it. He says, he probably told on me, that guy, that idiot. It's whatever. So, back at Raven Delve's main hall, Sergeant Door, confident enough to bet Sergeant Door 10 days of armed maintenance, and the Infiltrator squares off against Custodian, which is one of the new Gene Tech Raptors. He says, I can beat him. Easy. They're not good enough yet. Expecting easy one within 2 minutes. Custodian has none of the Legionaries training. He doesn't need it, right? So back goes Valerius from the first exchange. Custodian dodges a grapple, sweeps the leg, absorbs a shoulder charge that would have ended the fight normally, encounters with the raw strength that the Infiltrator has never encountered in anything short of a Primarch. And it ended with Custodian's knee pinning his throat to the floor, but to punch him in the face until Branne calls us up. He says, you win. And Branne says, reactions and strength are better than matured legionary. I've never seen anything like it. And Alpharius picks himself up, ignoring Door's offered hands to get that in my face. And he's just like, wow, I'm a Primarch. I just got beat by a brand new Space Marine.
Yeah.
I have to go figure some things out.
PRB, need to go pyro.
We cheated, whatever. He's on steroids. Test him. So Corax says, let's up scale here. Another 100 implantations. Goodness, I can talk, I swear. But I can do this. Don't watch another channel, please. Please tell your friends. We need to get the top 10 Warhammer channel. So he says, I want a full fighting force in 50 days. And he tells Branne his title no longer fits what he actually commands. Corax says, these are not just recruits. They're starting something new for the Legion. Commander of recruits doesn't seem to reflect your role properly. And Branne says, we have Talons, Falcons, Hawkslord. I think we should be the Raptors. Toronto Raptors. And Corax says, the Raptors. Yes, that was perfectly. Swift Hunters. You're the commander of the Raptors now. So, watching the Raptors return their ranks, the Infiltrator basically kind of does the math in his head. He's like, in 50 days, they're going to have a battle-ready company of these Primarch grade warriors. I need to tell Omegon immediately. So, yeah, that's kind of, but before we get there, we're going to pause that on part 2, because this one I think is getting a little long. Not too long, but yeah, an hour and a half, not too bad. But anyways, yes. So, what are you thinking?
It's interesting. I'm not going to lie. The first thing I was thinking when they're like the Raptors, I'm like, how do they even know what a Raptor is? You know what I mean? Because like,
I don't know what a Falcon is.
You know, that's also true. I'm like, the Raptors were extinct like billions of years ago for us.
Right.
And it's like, that's another, however long, 40,000 years from then. It's like,
right.
Not sure about this. But anyway, no, it is interesting. I feel like there's a lot of interesting implications with this of like the Raven Guard having access to this technology right now. It's like, oh, they can make something that, just beat Alpharius in a fight, right? And it's like, oh, okay, like, how is that going to like work out?
Yeah, if you have like 200 or 300 of these Primarch strength warriors, yeah, I don't think Forrest is going to be able to do much against that.
Right.
He's just going to be this war. Like, yeah, that's. So how will this go badly? We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, clearly, Raven Guard, I assume in like modern lore is not insanely overpowered. So I'm assuming this does not work out.
No, yeah, modern Raven Guard are just because any other Space Marine. Well,
yeah,
I get eventually getting the Primaris Marines and that whole thing. So technically they're better, but that's a whole other.
Yeah.
So we'll pause there for now for part 2 because if we did all of them, it'd be very long. But actually, let me know in the comments if we get this far. Would you prefer that we do break it into parts like this so it's more watchable and digestible, or would you prefer like one just giant episode where it's like 3 hours long?
Raven Guard mega episode.
Raven Guard mega episode said 12-hour marathon. Just something. If it's easier, yes, let me know. But anyways, until the next one. If not, I'm just gonna keep doing it this way. But if you want to change, then I'll change it. But anyways, until the next one. Bye.